Hi, hello. It is Josh Bow of Pod Maverick. This is Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm also one of the many editors over at Mavs-Moneyball.com. Hello. It is me, but it is not just me. As I told everyone, Kirk would not be able to record after today's game because of something special. If you guys were on the internet, you immediately saw what that was during the game. So I'm here with David Trink, Mavs Moneyball staffer. I haven't talked to you like on the pod, I think, since like the draft. So happy to have you on. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It was a fun game, all things considered. And yeah, it was super cool what Kirk got to do. So I'm kind of glad he's didn't even try to pod tonight, like go in a
No.
bathroom or something. Because yeah, did you enjoy that to the fullest?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that didn't see it, Kirk, he'll tell the story next time we pod, but Kirk got invited. Luka Doncic manager reached out to him, and Kirk was invited along with some other Mavs media people, Mavs fans, to attend the game in Luka's suite. So Kirk did that with Luka's friends and family. And I think he got a little goodie bag from Luka, the Luka org as well. So it was really cool. They showed the suite during a timeout, coming back from a commercial break. Kevin Gray of DLLS Mavs was in there. A couple of Mavs fans, if you guys are on Twitter, that I recognized were there as well. So very cool. Kirk got to take his son Parker, who I think Luka is the reason Parker plays basketball. Like Parker is a mega fan, so that was really special, especially when you consider how devastated Parker was when Luka was traded. So, but there was a game, and the Mavericks lost, and it was weird because I felt like for 75% of the time I was watching that game, the only thing I keep thinking of was, wow, the Lakers stink. And then the Mavericks lost, and they somehow lost by, I didn't even say the score when I started the game. I'm so sorry. They lost 116-110. Very weird game. Felt like I don't come out of this game feeling that bad about the Mavericks. I've come out of this game feeling like the Lakers are a weird team, but David, I want your first thoughts, and then we'll go from there.
I want to jump right off of that feeling because if you show somebody probably the last, I don't know the exact number, but 4 or 5 minutes of the game, and you're like, which of these, like, do the Lakers look like a contender here? The answer is like unequivocally yes, because I mean the defense that they played in the last couple minutes of the game was like so different than the defense they played in the first 42 minutes. I mean, the Lakers were bad for most of this game, and my I guess my big takeaway is just like, how did the Mavs blow that game? I mean, there's a couple reasons that I think why it happened, but the Lakers really did flip a switch. It was like Luka started playing defense. He was really bad on defense for the first 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, he was pretty good. LeBron just started playing basketball all of a sudden. He looked uninterested for most of this game, especially in that third quarter, and I'm sure we'll talk about the third quarter eventually. And then Rui Hachimura made a lot of big shots. Jake LaRavia made a couple shots. I mean, the role players just made plays down the stretch, and the Mavs role players just did not. So it just completely flipped after the Mavs had flipped it on them a quarter before.
Yeah, you look at the 30,000 foot angle of it. The Mavericks, I call it, I wrote about it. I've talked about it with Kirk. We call it the kind of the holy trinity of Mavericks cards, of Maverick stats. It's 3-point shooting, it's turnovers, it's offensive rebounds. So before you even talk about anything else, I like looking at those. Mavericks lost 3-point shooting. The Lakers made 14 threes. Mavs made 10, and the Lakers also shot 41% from 3. The Mavs shot 34. Lakers had 16 offensive rebounds. Mavericks had 11. That's another category. And then turnovers. Mavericks are actually better on turnovers. They had 16. Lakers had 16 total turnovers. The Mavericks had 11. But the Mavericks gave up more points off turnovers because a lot of the Lakers turnovers were dead ball, and a lot of the Mavericks turnovers were live ball, fueling Lakers opportunities. And also the Mavericks didn't shoot very well, so they also couldn't convert those live ball turnovers. The Mavericks shot like horribly. They were 41% from the floor, 34% from 3. I feel like this was kind of a blueprint. Like, I'm surprised more teams don't guard the Mavericks like the Lakers did. A lot of zone, and I know that the Lakers kind of have to play zone because they can't stay in front of anyone.
No.
So, like, I'm gonna have the image of Caleb Martin crossing over Luka, getting into the paint and getting Clay a three is gonna live rent free in my head forever. Because, like, if you're letting Caleb Martin break you down off the dribble, there is an issue with your defense, not just Luka, but as a team. Like, all of the Lakers look like they play with cement in their shoes. So they played zone probably because they have to, but more teams should play zone because the Mavericks just want to drive. They want to drive with a pick and roll, isolation, get you into rotation, and then try to work from there. They can't shoot, so teams should be packing the paint, and the Lakers kind of did that. And despite how lethargic the Lakers played, just that strategy alone, I felt like was enough to keep them in the game. And then when they kind of woke up and started hitting shots in the fourth, they won.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that it felt like the Mavs, even when they were losing in the first half, despite that fact, like when they went to that zone, I mean, the Mavs looked helpless at the end of the first quarter, and they kind of brought in Clay so that the Lakers backed off a little bit. But oh my God, like the Mavericks were playing, they were playing fine to begin the game, and then the Lakers go to this zone, and it was like they had never seen. I mean, you grow up. You throw the ball to the middle if they're in a 2-3, and you work inside out, and you get like corner three looks. But it looked like the Mavericks had never seen a look like that. And I guess, not many teams play zone, so I guess maybe they hadn't this year. But it really was baffling how poorly they handled that. What was the score after the first quarter? 37-28 Lakers. Yeah. I want to say that the Mavs were it was pretty close when the game was in the early 20s, and then the Lakers went zone at the end of the quarter and they pulled away, and the Mavs had so many. I mean, every time if you were on your phone watching this game, like that kind of half scrolling Twitter, half watching the game, I bet every time you look up in the first half, the Lakers are catching the ball on a fast break for a layup, because it seemed like every other play the Mavs would throw it right to them and then they wouldn't get back. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, it was crazy. Really, the Mavericks should have. I mean, it's a weird game because it's like they should have probably lost by more with how they started. And in the first half, they're down. They're down by 14. I mean, they lost every quarter but the third, but they won the third quarter by 21 points because the Lakers just came out looking awful. Brandon Williams had it was a weird, the third quarter was so good, then the fourth quarter was so bad. Brandon Williams was incredible in the third, and then I don't know, did Kidd leave him in too long? Like, did he kind of overextend him a little bit, and did the Lakers recoup in that third quarter timeout coming into the fourth? He was so good in that third, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, you got to take him out. But also, I mean, the fourth quarter was just so bad. Like, I don't know. What did you think with Brandon Williams? Because he was so good in the third. He was probably the reason they had that big third quarter in the first place.
Oh, for sure. He was at least, a contributing factor. But I mean, yeah, I think they left him in too long. Once it's kind of when a guy expends all of his juice like that off the bench, you see bursts happen from these electric scores. And there's a reason that he can't play bigger minutes. And it's because once he gets all of that out, as he did at the end of the third quarter, and then we get to 6 minutes left in the fourth, 5 minutes left in the fourth, and then down the stretch, he was taking almost every shot. And either his legs were dead or the Lakers were just defending him better because he had expended all of his moves. I mean, he should have – and I get Ryan Nembhard has been pretty bad, I guess, recently. But the Mavericks just did not have anyone to say, okay, the Lakers have made two, 3 shots in a row. We need to slow it down, run our offense, and get a good shot. It was just three-pointer on the Lakers' end, and the Mavs would come down. And Brandon Williams, the difference between him and Ryan Nembhard is Ryan Nembhard plays at a pretty controlled pace, and you kind of need that in a close game down the stretch. Whereas when the Mavericks were behind in the third quarter, like Brandon Williams was just go, 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 and the Lakers couldn't, they couldn't do anything about it. But once you needed to execute the offense and control the game, and Brandon Williams was just going and missing, I thought Kidd should have subbed him out, halfway through the fourth quarter. As soon as he misses 2 in a row, you gotta make a decision, because he missed that, like, he airballed that 3, I think, at the end, and you could tell that his like voodoo had run out. But that was one of the reasons I think the Mavericks lost this game, is because they had nothing with him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Nembhard was basically benched. I mean, I don't know if he got hurt or I don't know what happened, but he played 4 minutes, and I know he didn't play. He hasn't played well in a while. Like, that was a big difference. I wonder if Nembhard didn't play because the kid was so worried in this matchup, particularly about like Luka and LeBron picking on him. Like, with the Lakers, their offense with LeBron and with Luka, it can be very much like, that bum hunting, set screens, get the guy that you want on Luka, and go from there. So I wonder if that came into it. He just didn't want to go that small. But I mean, Brandon Williams is kind of small too.
I was gonna say, is Brandon Williams any bigger than him on defense? Like, I don't think so.
Know. I mean, yeah, I know. It's kind of 6 to 1, half a dozen the other there. But yeah, it was just, that fourth quarter was just like, it was hard to watch. The Lakers made a ton of threes. The Mavericks couldn't really. It felt like these teams kept interchanging, like, can't stay in front of their man. Like, the Lakers in the third couldn't stay in front of anyone, and the fourth, the Mavericks couldn't stay in front of anyone. And then how the Mavericks guarded Luka, we could probably talk about. I mean, we could probably do a whole another segment on that. But yeah, let's wait till we get to the break, and then we'll talk about Luka. Okay. But what, like, DeAndre Ayton, I want to talk about him real quick, because he single-handedly kept the Mavericks into the game. I know we're kind of scatterbrained right now, but I cannot, like, I know we started off the top was I couldn't believe that the Mavericks lost this game. But my other prevailing thought was, why is DeAndre Ayton so bad? 4 of 16. He had 11 rebounds, but, like, that was awful. I think the Mavericks bigs played okay. Daniel Gafford had his best play of the season with that block in the first half. He finally looked like Daniel Gafford a little bit. But Powell didn't have a good game. He kind of returned down to earth. What did you feel from, like, the bigs tonight, but on both sides?
Well, I completely agree with DeAndre Ayton. And one thing that was driving me nuts on the broadcast, I don't know if you listened to the national broadcast, but Richard Jefferson, I mean, Ayton he finished 4 of 16, but before he made his last shot, he was 3 of 15, and burned into my brain. Richard Jefferson just kept going, I know he's 3 of 15, but, like, he's not completely missing these shots. Like, they're just rolling off the rim. And I'm like, these are 1-foot layups. What are we? He's not taking 10 to 15 footers that he's airballing. He's missing shots at the rim. Am I going crazy? Like, these are bad shots. And, like, yeah, so on the Lakers side, I mean, they just have nothing inside, and not, like, Najee Marshall got in the paint at will. He kind of had an off night too. He didn't make as many shots as he normally does in the paint. He only shot 7 of 15, but I think he started like 3 of 9 or something. But the Mavericks, like the Lakers, have nothing at the rim on defense. Honestly, when they went to LeBron at center, they played way better than when DeAndre Ayton was in the game. The Mavericks, there's not much to say about the Mavericks at center, because, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, obviously they're both out. Daniel Gafford, and this is kind of another big takeaway I have from this game about Gafford and PJ. It seems like maybe their ankle injuries are or were a little worse than we realized, because they both don't seem comfortable at all out there. They're not moving great, and it's not like Daniel Gafford moved great on defense when he was healthy, but after an ankle injury, that only makes it worse. But the Mavs just, I don't know what to say until you have a healthy starting caliber center. Dwight Powell honestly is doing as much as he can. I've had no issues. He obviously didn't score tonight. He had 7 rebounds. He had 2 steals and a block. I mean, it is what it is at this point. They kind of have to start him. He's I think he's a better option than Daniel Gafford at this point. Obviously, if Moussa Cisse is playing, I think he's the best center on the roster. But yeah, DeAndre Ayton, I don't know. If you look at the box score, you go 9 points, 11 rebounds. He's 4 of 16. You're like, okay, maybe he missed a bunch of jumpers and he played okay inside. But yeah, the Mavericks were really, there was a couple possessions in the first, was it the first half or it was their third quarter when they started making their run. Ayton missed a layup at the rim, and then the Mavericks got a 3. And then the next possession, Ayton missed another layup, and the Mavericks got another 3. And I think they cut the lead to 2 points, and then they took the lead right after that. So it was a mess in the paint tonight from both sides. It was kind of a layup line. You know, you make one move, you get past your guy, and you pretty much have a layup all night.
Yep. Gafford and Washington. Yeah. I mean, holy crap, PJ. 26 minutes, 2 points. Gafford at least like had the block, but yeah, the rest of his game was not very good. Those guys need to be better. It's really hard for them to win if those guys aren't good. And it's kind of a shame considering how well some of the other role players played. Like you get this awesome game from Caleb Martin. You get another great game from Max Christie, although he's been good all season. So yeah, they really needed those guys to play well. Let's hit a break because we're about the halfway point, 17 minutes. All right, guys. This is for those of you watching live, not really going to be a break. Audio feed. We're going to go to a couple ads and then we'll come right back. We'll talk about Luka. Maybe we talk about a little bit of the fourth quarter. And maybe just talk more about this team a little bit and then we'll close it out. So if you're watching live, just hang on for a second. And if you're listening to the audio feed, stay with us through the ads. It's the best way to support us. Please, pretty please. And we'll be right back after this. Okay, we're back. We went this whole podcast without talking about Luka. So we kind of have to talk about Luka. I know people hate it when we talk about Luka, but guess what? He was on the other team, so now we have to talk about him because he torched the Mavericks in the fourth. I think he was also a big reason why the Mavericks got that lead in the third because his defense was really bad. Yeah, Luka, what are your first thoughts? Because I have thoughts. I want to hear you first.
My first thoughts are I have seen some takes recently about is Luka declining? Can you win with Luka? Blah, blah, blah. All this stuff about, Luka is not playing. I know he's averaging 34 points and whatever, 34-point near triple-double, but he looks worse than he had. Luka looks exactly as good as he did in Dallas the last couple of years. He was the first 3 quarters were such an indictment on the Lakers roster. I thought on offense, let's talk about offense first. On offense, Luka looked very, very good. He was getting to his spots. He was hitting step back threes. I mean, he threw some passes that the Mavs just looked like they were 4 guys staring at Luka when he would drive, and it would be a rifle to the opposite corner and one more pass and an open 3. Now, defensively, that's where I go, okay, listen, I can see some of the takes I see online when I watched Luka defensively in the first 3 quarters. But, I mean, that's not anything that he hasn't been for the last 7 years. He's always been a selectively okay defender. Like in the fourth quarter, he was moving his feet. He got the Mavs to turn the ball over. He was not a liability at all. And that's pretty much like the reason they won was because they picked it up on defense in the fourth quarter. But I thought that he was very, very good on offense. And I thought, honestly, I don't know what your take. I think I know what your take is going to be, but I thought them double teaming him was the right play, to be honest.
Really? You did?
Yeah.
Why? Because I disagree.
Because Jared Vanderbilt made a couple threes. Rui Hachimura made some threes. Jake LaRavia made some threes. I would rather lose to those guys than Lucas scoring 50 points because normally if it's the Mavericks in 2024, PJ Washington, you lose to PJ Washington, you lose to Derek Jones Jr., those guys. I think those guys you're less okay with losing to because I think they're better role players than what this Lakers team has. I just don't think this Lakers team has very good role players at all. And if you lose to Jake LaRavia, then so be it.
Normally I don't disagree. This Lakers team is really bad role player wise, but also the thing that I hate is giving bad players opportunities, like comfortable opportunities. And that's why I've always been pretty staunch about like just guard Luka one-on-one, because I feel like he's most dangerous with his pass. Like I think the game plan should be let Luka score 45 and everyone stay home and everyone else, and then try to win that way. Because the other guys aren't going to get shots off if you don't give them space and you guard them straight up. Like Jake LaRavia is not going to beat you off the dribble. Maybe LeBron, obviously LeBron and Marcus Smart. It's hard to do that when those guys are on the floor because they still have some juice. Obviously LeBron more than Smart, but like those guys and Smart had a really good game. I know he was 4 of 10 from the floor, but he felt like he was making winning plays, especially in the fourth quarter. LeBron kind of picked his spots, but he was also really good in the fourth. The double feels like such a give up. It feels like you're just kind of flipping a coin and you're just hoping that guys miss shots instead of like dictating the terms of the game. You're kind of letting Luka decide what happens in a way, which is if his teammates miss shots, okay, his teammates miss shots and you win. But I don't know. I feel like if you just try to guard them straight up, I just don't want the role players getting comfortable because they're not going to be comfortable in one-on-one situations. But I can't go against what you're saying because they're not great players. Like I get it.
I mean that's a fair take. Let me amend my take a little bit and say when Rui Hachimura makes 2 threes in a row and then you double Luka again, I think that's the mistake. Like late in that fourth quarter when they were still doing it at the end of the game, and these guys have made shots for the last 4 minutes, that's when I can be like, okay, yeah, that's. But I guess the flip side of that is at that point, if you're making Luka beat you, he's going to beat you. So maybe it's a little too late for that, but I think the first 3 quarters, when Vanderbilt was making threes and they were losing in the first half, I still felt like the Mavs were going to win the game, and they did. They came back and they took the lead pretty
right because the Lakers
assertively.
Even when the Lakers were up 14 in the first, they did not look good.
No,
they didn't look good at all. The Mavericks were just horrible, missing shots and couldn't generate good looks.
But I can totally see like what you're saying there, and it's kind of a fine balance between doing it and getting the right guy to shoot, and then not doing it too much because if he makes 1 shot, then he can make 2 shots. The Lakers kind of just made shots, honestly. That and the Mavericks just. Their shots down the stretch were equivalent to turnovers in my eyes. Some of those shots were not good at all.
No, I know. I mean, there was that Brandon Williams air ball late. That kind of felt like it was over after that. Like when he shot that and he missed it. And I think the Lakers scored right away.
Yeah.
It is funny. In the fourth, Luka did take a charge. As much as I kind of messed up on it, was critical of his defense. I don't know what JJ Redick said to them in between the third and fourth quarters because it was like a completely different team. I don't know what he said at halftime to get them to play like so terrible at the third, and then I don't know what he said to them in the fourth, which is really funny. But yeah,
it was a weird game.
It was such a weird game. Like I said, I come out of this game still feeling worse about the Lakers because the Mavericks, they are at best the 10th seed. Like that's the highest they can shoot for. The 10th seeds don't make the playoffs. Like this team can still be fun and competitive and give team scares and win games that we don't expect and be competitive against good teams. But for all intents and purposes, unless something really crazy happens, the Mavericks season is kind of over in terms of postseason, which is, I'm not trying to be negative. It's just where they are in the standings and the teams ahead of them. Like they're still not even in the play-in. And then they got to jump and they got to get to 10th against another team, the Clippers, who are playing well and also desperately want to win. So it's going to be hard. And even if they get to 10th, you got to win 2 road games against 2 teams higher than you in the standings. It's really hard. But the Lakers, they're going to be in the playoffs. Like I watched this game from the Lakers and I'm like, how are they going to win a series? Like there's just something off about them. And maybe they just desperately need LeBron to wake up. They desperately need another trade, but it feels like they're just holding all their bullets for some theoretical mega trade, like they kind of always are, like hoping some star will fall into their laps, like Luka. So I guess I can't doubt, knock them too much. Boy, I hit what I wanted to hit. Talked about Luka. We talked about the defense. Talked about the offense. Talked about Brandon Williams. Talked about PJ and Gafford again. I'm staring at the box score. I'm just like, woof, that is crazy. But the Mavericks shot poorly from everywhere on the field except the restricted area, and they were just kind of average there. They were really bad in the paint outside the restricted area, which is they're normally pretty good at because Najee Marshall kind of came back down to earth a little bit. He was 7 of 15 from the floor. Still had a good game, but like not as efficient as he normally is. I mean, he still had 21 points and 11 rebounds. And then Caleb Martin had a crazy good game, 17 points. He's starting to play so well. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just how he is now. Maybe he's back to Miami, Caleb Martin. Who knows? But anything else you wanted to hit on as we're getting close to wrapping it up?
Yeah, Cooper Flagg had a really weird offensive game. He took a lot of jump shots, and I don't really know why. Especially with how weak the Lakers were inside, it seems like he settled a lot. And I can't figure out his 3-ball, to be honest. He made one tonight and it looked really good, and his shot looked pretty confident, but all of the misses he had were just straight off the back rim. And I don't know if he needs to, he was kind of jumping into them a little bit, kind of like what Chandler Parsons used to do, but not as egregious.
Yeah.
So that's obviously something he'll work on in the offseason, but it was just a really weird kind of settly game for Flagg tonight. I didn't love his shot diet. Took a lot of long twos, and he just missed a lot of shots.
Yeah, it was a weird game for Cooper. I can't believe we didn't talk about Cooper yet. He did take a lot of shots, which was good. But yeah, he just didn't seem like he could get comfortable. There were times where I was like, is he like ready for the moment? And it just looked a little rough at times where he was it felt like he kind of started. It was like, it seemed like he wasn't ready. And then it was like, he realized it and he was like, oh crap, I got to get into this game. And he shot a lot, and he didn't seem to shoot himself into a rhythm. It was kind of like he stopped, started. It was like, it almost like he was self-aware to know that like, holy crap. Like I need to get myself in the game, and he started shooting more. The Lakers have a weird, like, I felt like the Mavericks should have done a better job getting him better advantages. Like the Lakers, LeBron and Luka are big, but like Marcus Smart's not that big. Gabe Vincent's not that big. I feel like the Mavericks didn't do a great job putting him in a good position to maybe get some easier matchups and score on some of their smaller guys. But yeah, that's what happens when you don't have a, real point guard, I think too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think a lot of his bad stretches came either when they went zone at the end of the first quarter or late in the fourth quarter when Brandon Williams was the de facto point guard, and he just wasn't getting to it. Like they weren't. I think you're right. He wasn't being put in the spots that he likes to get to. Because he had a couple strong drives in this game, but other than that, it was just like not the normal, quote unquote, normal Cooper Flagg we're used to, where he's getting downhill at will. And this was like a perfect matchup for that. I was pretty disappointed with how he played tonight. The only other thing is I think Max Christie, some of the stuff that he's showing off, like the driving, the getting fouled, the non 3-pointer stuff that he's doing, he's developing the kind of body control where, the slow step where you use your body to get the defender off of you and then go up and either get fouled or make like a floater or a layup. That stuff's been really impressive because he did not have that. Certainly not in LA. He didn't really do it last spring, and he wasn't doing it much earlier in the year. And now he's he took 18 shots tonight. And honestly, I hope he takes 18 shots every night. I like the shots that he takes. He's turning into like a really good all-around player.
Yeah, the consistency with him has been really, really fun to watch, because last season he started so hot and then he kind of fell off a cliff because I think Kirk mentioned it, like he played the most minutes he's ever played, like ever. Like he was like at that point, like he had blown past his career high in minutes. So yeah. I don't know what else to talk about with this game. Mavericks play a very depleted Bucks team. No Giannis. I don't know how they're, the travel is going to be freaking weird because of the awful weather. So if the Mavericks can even hopefully they can even get there. So we'll see tomorrow. Sunday might be a weird game. They play Sunday, right? I'm sorry. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, they play tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy if they can get out of this weather and get there safely and everything goes okay. We'll see. But do you have any parting thoughts? Otherwise, I'm ready to hit it. But I appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, no problem. I don't think so. Other than Dallas native Drew Timme had a 3-pointer in I think the third or fourth quarter that was probably 3 feet left of the rim and out of bounds.
That was hilarious.
So that was one of my favorite moments of the game, and that was right before the Mavericks blew their lead. So maybe that was a bad omen for them.
Yeah. Well, David, again, thank you for hopping in, filling in for Kirk. Kirk will be back maybe tomorrow, whenever we next record. Hopefully, we'll see. And we'll talk about his experience, obviously, and then we'll go from there. But again, David, always love talking to you. Thanks for joining. And guys, this is for Pod Maverick, Josh Bowe. Check the site. We're gonna have a lot of good post-game content coming out of this game. We appreciate all you guys for listening and staying with me. Thanks for listening to 2 Kirkless podcasts. I know I don't have the juice that Kirk has, so thank you. And Mavericks lose to Lakers 116-110. We'll talk to you guys later. See you, David.
See ya.